but not least, Benny, I want to share this article that came up about how NFL teams are trying to protect quarterbacks like Kirk Cousins from COVID-19, and not always successfully.
In other words, trying to protect them from themselves.
Yeah, fundamentally. Yeah. You know, you saw, I'm sure, the Eagles, for example, they got everybody in separate rooms on the Zoom calls now. You know, everybody kind of went almost back to the 2020 protocols when COVID first hit, school closing. You know, the NFL hasn't said squat about reducing or changing any of the protocols for the fans. They reduced the protocols for the players. I'm looking at this one article here, and I don't know if you can see this if I switch over, but I just want to say it real quick, that they're talking about, for example, Aaron Rodgers would not have to be subjected to another COVID test until the week of the Super Bowl. Now,
they've already had it. That's their reasoning.
Seems to be. See, I don't. They once they decided to go along with the CDC and stretch everything out. I don't know what their thinking is. I do know when I listened to the main doctor, he said they were changing the way that they were testing. He said it should be more, not less tests, but I think it's more of a random than everybody having a test or something like that. But long story short, I could not understand this, how, a guy could go that long without being tested in the NFL. So I just thought that was a little strange. I still think it's strange. And I think that the NFL, again, watching the game on a cold night, when you see those guys and they're breathing and you can see their breath extend all the way out to here in the steam, that when that center lines up against that DN, and that
they're
guard,
breathing right into each other's faces.
They're breathing all up in each other's face. And it's just hard to believe that the NFL thinks, we don't have to test guys. If you tested positive and now you're asymptomatic, you're good to go in about 2 or 3 days, stuff like that. So, last week our family was struck with it. I'm still waiting for my PCR test. My first antigen test we took before Christmas was negative. Then everybody got sick afterwards. I took another antigen rapid test today and it came back negative. So, I'm feeling a lot better, obviously. And, everybody's doing pretty well around here. But I don't like the fact that the tests are taking so long to come back. But, that's kind of what happened. The world got inundated, with the Omicron variant, and, everything got backed up. So, so much work that we have to do as a country to really be prepared for not just what's going on with the rest of this pandemic, but who knows what the future holds if we don't, as a world, stand together and work a little bit better than what we did in this last pandemic. So I'll leave that at that.
Yeah, I just, I've had a rapid test, and this last one that I took was supposed to be 72 hours, which I believe the longer it takes them to get the results, the better, for lack of a better word, the test is the more accurate the test is. The
PCR takes 2 to 3 days. The rapid test obviously is a 15-minute test, but there are different types of tests. Rapid antigen, PCR is more,
Right. So we took the PCR. So if it actually takes 2 days to get the results, what they tell you when you take the test is you should have your results back to you within 72 hours, which would be what, 2.5 days, 3 days? Right. So I don't have a problem with that. And the fact is, again, like you said, there's so many people testing that. They're setting up these testing sites all over the place after they had just taken them down, like over the summer. So people are testing like crazy. So I see that's going to slow things down. And not to mention, the fact that we just went through the holiday season. But, I'm not too upset about that. You get a little anxious when you take a test and you don't get results because you want to know, But, yeah, things are crazy.
I literally called for my PCR test today, and all the ladies would say it's so backed up. I can't. When I go on the computer, it just says not available. Just
they can't.
Not, so it is what it is. But it's a crazy world we live in. Keep an eye out. This will be interesting if it impacts the playoffs. That's what I'm looking for now.
It will.
The playoffs, man. You don't want your quarterback. You don't want your top receivers.
That's why they're changing these rules. But they're changing
changing them to make. Now the funny thing, they're changing them so they play quickly, right? The thing about Omicron is that it doesn't make you as sick, generally, especially if you're vaccinated. So they're probably going to get away with this.
But it's easier to catch, though.
Yes, much. There was one on my Facebook page. I have an article. They said in Israel, they had a situation where they had a COVID quarantine hotel, and they had one person on one side of the hallway and another person on the other side of the hallway positive. The other person wasn't, but somehow the person that wasn't wound up getting positive. And they're saying, could that have actually traveled that far, to have infected the other guy? They're saying that, and again, it's all about, what you're breathing. It's that. Apparently they're not so much worried. Like, remember when it first came out, we were all washing off our groceries when we brought them home. We like wipe everything down. I don't think they care about that so much now.
Nope.
It's all about, what's coming out. That's why you got to have the mask and all of that. So
I'm washing my hands really good now. I had slowed down with that some, but now since this thing seems to be starting to get out of control again, my hands are dry and cracked up because I wash my hands like 6-7 times a day. Like
yeah, I'm doing a lot of water. I'm back to the sanitizer.
Oh, that never left.
Yeah.
Light switches and doorknobs around here, bro. Light switches and doorknobs a couple times a day. Desiree is on it.
All right.
He's on it. But anyway, that's the life we're living in. So